Hi, my name is Ebenezer Safwedu. I'm a business strategy consultant and a data specialist. This is our December special with the professionals who have been doing great with data science. As I promised, in December, I'll be interviewing some professionals in the data science world, those who are actually using data science to change the world in where they are. Today, I'm delighted to host the first of the series, a very astute data scientist, even though he doesn't want to be described as such. I have with me a Dr. Kevlin Nathaniel Asante. He is head of corporate planning in Ghana, one of the distribution companies, the largest distribution company in Ghana. And he has so much experience with the use of data science. He's a trained electrical engineer and has a PhD in financial investment. He's been using data to solve problems since 2000. So he has 20 years experience in the use of data in solving problems. So today I'm pleased to have him on my channel. Hello, Dr. Asante.
Hello, Evan. How are you doing?
I'm fine, sir. And yourself?
I'm very well today.
Okay. We are pleased to have you, and we hope to draw from your rich experience in how you've been using data in solving problems. Can you please, even though I've introduced you, if you could tell a little bit about yourself, your name, your educational background, and your work?
Okay. Thank you very much, Eben. I am Kevlin Asante. I trained as an electrical engineer. But along the way, I fell in love with computers, especially with programming. Out of that, I created some softwares that our company has used and improved upon today. And at that time, it was really a breakthrough for us to be able to do that kind of work. I'm talking about the 2003, 2004. Even though IT was growing, we had a lot of limitations in our company. But through hard work, passion, interest, I was able to solve some critical issues for the company, especially in the area of revenue collection. And it had to do with data again. So getting kind of real-time data for people who would work with customers and know the account balances. That program was improved upon by the company, and it is now widely being used. There are other projects that we have worked upon. Some of them also had to do with the process flow. So a customer walks to your institution and you really want to keep data on him at every point in time. So data has actually been a very key thing that we have used. I studied accounting. Okay, I'm a chartered accountant now. And during that course, there was something that drew my attention, and that was forecasting. In fact, I fell in love with that kind of forecasting. But I did not stop there. I had to go on and study more. So aside from the time series, econometric analysis, and a whole lot of things that had to do with forecasting. Today, On the forecast front, we are using the machine learning algorithms to be able to solve the same problems, albeit in a different way. So basically, my educational background,
Okay. Hello, dog. Hello, dog. Hello.
so basically, my educational background has been very, very varied, from electrical engineering to accounting to finance to data science through strategy. So basically, that's me.
Okay, so you are a man of many colors. You wear so many coats. So if I understand right, you are a trained electrical engineer, member of Ghana Institute of Engineers. You are a chartered accountant. You have your PhD in financial investment, and you are also a chartered strategist in terms of using the balance scorecard.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, what a rich experience. So like you hinted, if you could give us details, how did you get into data science?
Well, it's been a matter of interest and passion. One key thing I can say is that I have followed my passion and my interest. So, like I told you, as I study and something is very interesting to me, I follow it up. So, when I was doing accounting, that was when I came across forecasting. So, I have followed forecasting in all its form up to date.
Wow. So just an interest drove you into data science as you were studying accounting and you saw an interest in forecasting. And now it's taking you here today.
Yeah.
All right. So what has been your most challenging work when it comes to data science? Like, what has been the greatest challenge in working with data? Probably that, let me rephrase it that way.
I believe that in the real world situation, data abounds, but the quality of data that is there is problematic. Aside from the quality, there are a lot of missing data. So if you want to make meaning of what you are doing, it means that you have to get quality data and make sure as much as possible that the data is available. That is the most challenging thing. People collect data without thinking of what the data could be used for. So there are a lot of gaps in the data that you get from people. But to make meaning out of all that, you need to supplement this data with other sources of data. And then you clean the data before you can use it. So the granularity of data would actually inform the kind of analysis that you would carry out. If certain details of data are not there, then there are certain analyses that you cannot carry out. So it's not a matter of having the best brain or the best experience. The data itself will guide you into what kind of analysis can be performed on it.
All right. So if I get you right, you're saying that one of the greatest challenges that you would face in data science is the data itself.
Exactly. So you have data and you have a problem before you. And the question is, how do I solve this problem? The first thing is to go collect data. And it is an iterative process. And in going out there, you have certain assumptions. These assumptions will be validated or refuted. So you go a kind of a trial and error approach until you come up with something that is useful to stakeholders. At the end of the day, it's not about the analysis. It's about what can this data or this insight or the results of my analysis, what can I use it to solve, to change, to affect? That is the main issue at stake.
Okay. So if you're also saying that we should not necessarily, as in data science, just be in love with just running analysis or drawing insights, but getting the right objective that what can I change with the solution that I'm providing. So the end game should always be the final objective as changing, like your solution should cause change in society or in an organization.
Exactly.
Okay. So two main things. One is, as a data scientist, your greatest challenge is going to be the quality of data, which is the data itself, irrespective of how good your brain or your algorithms may be. And the second thing is that you should always look out for problems that may impact on society, not just running analysis for drawing insights sake.
Yeah.
All right. So, Bob, which project or data solving problem project are you so fond of that, like, anytime you think about it, you realize that, wow, this is a great thing that I've solved, like that caused change, like with what you just said. So something that, a problem that you solved that you felt, wow, this one there, I've really done it.
Okay. There is some analysis I'm currently running, and
Okay.
it's about something had to do with cohort analysis. Hitherto, we have assumed that a certain process that we were carrying out was okay. And every time we could beat our chest and say that as for this process, we are 98% sure. But after doing the analysis, I am actually amazed at the results. The results are not too good in the sense that our assumption of being able to follow that process, say 98%, 96%, is not actually the case. And for me, once my colleagues have been able to see this, it is the beginning of change. So it means that you are going to interrogate further what are some of the causes of this process slack, and then nail it in the head. I tell you, The analysis has taken more than 1 year.
Wow.
Yes.
Data science projects could be that long.
You see, again, depends on what you want. You had the objective, but you see, when you start with the project, your main goal is there. But as you progress on the project, you may be receiving some shocks. And because of those shocks, you would have to be going back to the stakeholders to validate every step of the way. So that by the time that you make your findings public, it doesn't come out as a surprise. Because the stakeholders have been there, you have done a lot of discussions and all that. So
a data science project can be likened to any project management process that you need to engage a lot of stakeholders for the success of the project. Okay.
Exactly, because when you are doing data science, you are not an expert in the various technical fields.
Okay.
So you need a lot of consultation. Ask them what their technical jargons mean, what their data and you have to understand the data as they understand it before you can actually do anything with the data. Because as an accountant, when you come to talk to me as a data science professional, I may have little knowledge about data science, but I know my books as an accountant. So when you start speaking with me and you can speak my language, but it is termed in your data science project, then we are on the same page. Otherwise, I just switch you off. I say you don't know what you are talking about.
Okay. So you said the project that you are most fond of is the cohort analysis. If I understand what cohort analysis is, it's about following through, let's say, a group of people, their patterns or their processes over a period of time. Like, let's say you can follow customers' purchases over a period of time. You can follow people who viewed your website over a period of time. And you use that to actually validate an assumption of a process flow in your company.
Yeah.
Wow. I know you're a fan of Monte Carlo analysis also.
In fact, that is where I was coming to. Okay. So the question that you asked me, which is the previous question, which is the most challenging or what do we call it?
The project that you are fond of.
That I'm fond of. I'm fond of really many things. And what I actually understand is that, you know, when we are doing a lot of analysis, we may do sensitivity analysis and we may do scenario analysis. That is fine. It is fine. But I prefer Monte Carlo simulations over those. Sensitivity analysis, you are just changing one parameter at a time and see its impact either on your bottom line or on something else.
Okay,
Scenarios.
so if you can give us example, for instance, sensitivity analysis, like let's say we are going into elections in Ghana. You want to find out maybe perhaps how a certain policy can affect votes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it means that you would have vary the values of that policy, whether it is good, whether it is bad, and see, and then out of it you are able to get some results. So you actually are able to understand what impact one factor can have on the whole of the rest. If it is an income statement, I may either vary price or volume or cost within a certain range and see how how it can impact on the bottom line. So that is, you are taking one factor at a time. In scenario analysis, you are taking more than one factor at a time. So you could do, for instance, a forecast of revenues or sales or prices. Best case scenario, worst case scenario, and the base case. And you'll be fine with that. But again,
Okay.
that is only 3, let's say, if we have 1,000 events, let's assume that every scenario is an event. So that is only 3 events out of 1,000. And that's scenario analysis because you did only 3. But when you go into Monte Carlo, then you can, instead of doing 3, you can do 1,000. So it's 1,000 trials, 1,000 events, 10,000 events, however that you are looking at all the possible scenarios that can happen. And then based on that, you are able to be very sure, certainty about the event taking place, all within a certain range. So if I'm running a Monte Carlo analysis on my income statements, I change my cost, I change my, what do we call it? My price, my volume to lie within certain regions. I am taking and I set my simulation to 1,000 trials or 10,000 trials. It means that I'm going to have 10,000 different cases if I choose 10,000. And from there, I'm able to estimate the probability of me making a profit or loss. In that way, you are very sure that whatever project, whatever you put before you, you may succeed or not.
I see. So Monte Carlo simulations, I know they are used even in the betting industry to determine the odds that a team may win. So as you know, the certainty levels of a win or a loss, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's one assignment we may have to look at. Monte Carlo analysis, you've taken us through scenario and what sensitivity analysis. Clearly, I'm sure you are from a stats background.
I'm not from a statistics background. I actually had to self-teach myself on some of these concepts.
Oh, okay.
Because
so most of the things you self-taught yourself.
Yes. Like I told you, electrical engineering, accounting, basically that. All this analysis and forecasting, all of them were self-taught.
Wow.
In fact,
So
that's
if
what I
anyone
used in my doctorate.
You use that?
Yes.
Okay.
One of the analysis I did in my doctorate was to find out, for instance, which party did well. Was it MPP or NDC? When it comes to manufacturing stocks on the stock exchange, their policies that they enacted and all that, what was the result of those policies? Did it impact positively or negatively on the stocks of the manufacturing sector on the Ghana Stock Exchange? My result shows that neither of them performed creditably.
Wow. So you mean that your love for analysis and most of the things that you do with data were self-taught?
Exactly.
So anyone can self-teach themselves data analysis and data science. But what does it take to be able to do this?
I think it's a gradual process, but the first thing that you have to identify is where your passion is, where you are good at, right? We 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 all write, but some people write better,
Okay.
and maybe they spend more time in looking at issues. That's why they write better. So you look at where your strengths are. I am one person who like a lot of numbers.
Okay.
Lately, I have shifted from numbers to unstructured text.
Wow.
Because I've seen that you also make meaning of unstructured text, but all of them still behind it there are concepts and theories, and those concepts and theories are also a numbers game.
Okay. So, like your interest has always been in numbers, as in making meaning out of numbers.
Exactly.
So, to be able to succeed in a field like data science, you should have an interest and a passion for numbers, at least.
Yes.
Okay. So, it's always advisable
Numbers,
that first,
a little bit of computing or coding skills. You have to teach yourselves all these things, because if you're a data science, you actually need to code. I remember when I started coding, that was years ago. I do not remember some of the languages that we learned. We today most of them are outdated, because today you are doing the JavaScripts and all that. At that time, we were learning Fortran, Turbo, Pascal, and all those things. But today, we are doing different things. I self-taught myself Visual Basic for applications. I taught myself some other languages and all that. But the basic thing was that when you are even coding, there are concepts. So if I want to study a new language today, like PHP or any other thing, because at least I have a basic idea of how the structure of the code should look like and all that, I am fine. So recently, to enhance my data science skills, I started studying R. I've never studied R before.
and
But
all these things are driven because you are passionate about them.
exactly, because
So,
sometimes you spend nights and just to understand something.
so if the passion and interest is not there, you are likely to give up. So one thing that people who want to enter into a field like data science need is to check whether they have the interest or the passion. And I think secondly, you talked about strengths, that you need to identify whether this is your strength in terms of you are a numbers person, and that's
Yeah,
one of your strengths. So you focus more on the number game in data science. Maybe
yeah,
somebody with a strength of maybe storytelling and visualization would rather prefer to look at the visual side of how to present the data. But
exactly,
it's
exactly.
important that one knows his or her strength to be able to utilize the passion and interest that they have.
Yes, and that is not only for data science. That is the rule in life.
Okay.
So if you do not have passion about what you do, then nothing is going to come out. So you must have passion, you must have the knowledge, because passion without knowledge is you are wasting your time. You must have passion, you must have the knowledge, and you must do the application and engage stakeholders who are interested in what you are doing. Otherwise, you really be frustrated.
Okay. So you talked about Fortran, Visual Basic. So what tools do you use in your like in your work as a data scientist? What are the tools that you use?
Yes. Today I use Power BI
That's the Microsoft Power BI.
Exactly. I use Power BI. I use R. I know a little bit of Python. But you see, I use Excel and all that. It's not the number of tools that you use that matters. It's whether the tool that you are using can deliver your objective. There are certain tools which are better to deliver certain objectives than other tools. In that case, if you have an idea, you use those tools. So a data scientist must not only have one tool in his toolbox. That's why it's called a toolbox, a range of skills. So you have to study coding, whether it's in R, whether it is a SQL Server, whether it's just a little bit, just for you to be able to carry out your work. I am not saying that you should be an expert in all these tools. That is why there's room for collaboration. So if I'm not an expert in SQL Server and T-SQL, I may have an idea. When I have a problem, I'll go to the DBA, the database administrator, or whoever has that thing to bring me up to speed. I'll not become a DBA overnight.
Okay.
But
So
what
you're saying
what
that
I have, yeah,
the tools are a lot, and
yeah,
you need to at least have a fair idea of the tools. However, collaboration is mostly needed if you are handicapped in a certain part in terms of
exactly,
using a particular tool. Okay. You were
yeah.
about to make a certain point also.
I think that's okay.
All right. But would you say that the tools are so important, or it's important that we rather consider concepts and the underlying issues of, let's say, the principles of analysis, because these tools come and go?
Exactly. First thing is concepts, then the tools. So you would do the concepts first, and then you go and find a tool that you can use to apply those concepts. If you are just following tools, then your life is going to be very difficult. Like you said, tools come and go, but concepts are there. A lot of the data science that we are doing today has in statistics, in econometrics, and a lot of disciplines. But at that time, the volume of data was not there like that. Also, the tools that were being used were more proprietary. If you use Stata, SAS, SPSS, and a whole lot of other tools. Today,
Okay.
R is virtually free, Python is virtually free, and all that. All these things giving rise to more people having the ability to be able to use the tools. And that is why we've seen such massive improvements in the data science field.
Data science. Okay. All right. So how can one start a data science journey? Let's say, like you rightly said, you are an accountant, a trained engineer, you had PhD in financial investment. So if somebody wants to start a journey in data science, what would you advise the person? How do they start? What should they look at?
Okay, my understanding of data science is a mix of different specialties: mathematics, computer science, statistics. So if I'm just only going to mention these three, the intersection of all these things. So it means that a person must have some kind of computer science knowledge, must have some kind of statistics knowledge, must have some kind of mathematical knowledge. And that is what is actually data science. Because whichever way, you are still going to test hypotheses and theories, you are still going to do your correlations and all those things. All these things are established fields which exist. So if a person has a passion for this kind of thing, then he's good to go for the data science course. And it's not only the passion, these are where his strengths lie. If he's weak in the mathematics and the computer science and the statistics, he has to do, I'm not saying that he cannot do it, but he has to do a lot more work.
So you're saying that we who like to write English a lot, and if that's not your strength, if math, stats, and computer science are not your strength, you would have to work a lot to be able to become better in data science. And therefore, a better strength in terms of maths and stats with computer science will see you through.
Exactly.
Okay. But are there courses or books that you recommend for somebody who wants to start such a journey? Maybe the person's a beginner. He sees the strength, he has a passion for it, wants to begin. Where do they start? Where do they go to?
That's a very good question. So I believe in taking one step at a time. So I want to start data science. Today, there are books on data science. You can Google and find out the best books on data science. And then you can buy some of them, download some of them from the internet if they are free, and you can start reading them. But you see, as you read, you must practice what you read. So in the books that you read, you would have to get they may tell you some of the tools. So you have to get those tools. Some of them come with word examples. You have to start trying your hands on them and all that. That is the only way you are actually going to make it. It's not the reading alone, but the reading and the practice. Yeah.
So anybody that wants to start data science course would definitely have to Google, find courses or find a book. Start from somewhere. As you read, you practice with a data set and you get more interest and it will lead you from one to the other. I guess that.
In fact, there's one guy I want to talk about. One of my colleagues that I work with. This guy does not have a mathematical background. I think his background is in tourism.
Wow.
But we work together.
Okay.
And he's very good with the visualizations.
Okay.
So that is the kind of collaboration that we do. But in doing the visualizations and he's preparing some graphs, some outputs for us, we have seen that he's now getting used to data that he initially he thought that was way over his head.
Okay.
At some point in time, I see him even correcting some of the things some statisticians and mathematicians write. And I'm saying, wow, this guy is a person who studied tourism. But just by association with the right people and all that, he's picking up things very quickly. So it doesn't matter whatever your background is, you can still teach yourself, associate yourself with the people who are working, and you will learn something.
Okay, so I think one takeout from what you're saying is, irrespective of your background, you can be very good or you could have a role to play in data science. However, your association may be what may take you like through such a journey. So it's important to find people who are doing it and associate yourself with them also.
Exactly.
Okay. What do you think are the opportunities in data science today, both in Ghana and the world as a whole?
Okay, let me start with Ghana. What's the essence of data science in the first place? Like I always said, it's not just running an algorithm. Algorithms don't mean anything. The main thing that you want to get from data science is whatever that you are doing, what can we use it to bring about change in the organization, in the country, and all that, to improve decision making so that at least you are not taking ad hoc decisions, but you are taking consistent decisions and it is leading you somewhere.
Okay.
And you find out that data science is part of strategy. Because you see, if you are not able to analyze some of the issues that are happening and some of the data that you are getting, you cannot do the prescriptive what should be done to be able to correct such issues. So for me, what I am saying is that there are a lot of opportunities in data science that can be utilized. In Ghana, for instance, I know some companies like Vodafone, maybe MTN, they have data science.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me? They
Yeah, I
have
can.
some data science departments and teams. It is not well established in Ghana. It is now that it is being rolled out. So I believe that people who study data science can make meaning out of it and all that. And today at the workplace, it's not so clear who is a data scientist and all that. In various organizations, there may be data scientists, but the organizations may call them different names. But that,
Business analysts.
yes, that is not the issue. The issue is that they are able to deliver the
Objective.
objectives, right?
Okay.
And
So there are various opportunities in data science in Ghana. I mean,
yes,
once you
yes,
are ready to solve business problems
yeah.
with data. Okay. You were about making another point on the opportunities.
Yes, I believe that outside, we were talking about opportunities both inside Ghana and outside Ghana. There may be more opportunities outside the country because, well, we know our production capacity in Ghana, it's limited, not like the outside world. So there are a lot of opportunities out there.
Okay. But I mean, from what you just said, if one would take it, it means that data science is still evolving, especially in Ghana, and therefore it's an opportunity for people to get in and help define it. Mean that it's like a new area, kind of,
Yes,
that people
yes,
can easily enter and begin to make the best out of it now before it becomes a household thing that everybody would
yes,
now be in it. So it's very good if you start. I mean, it's always nice to be pioneers in a certain industry. The requirements are even lower, or the standards are lower in the beginning.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So what are your, I mean, before your final words, you talked a lot on, you said something concerning decision making and data. Um, I mean, hitherto in the past, most companies, most organizations, even in policymakers, try to use a lot of judgment or gut feeling in running businesses. What's your take on that? And what do you think in the future or currently what is changing and what is happening? And what's the best way to take decision in our world today?
Okay, so there are two sides of the coin. You want to use data, things that has happened in the past, to be able to forecast, to tell what the future would look like. Right or wrong, but research has shown that companies that have used their data very well have been able to survive a lot of the storms and the troubles around. So if you have a management team that uses data to be able to make decisions, then I believe that that company is is on the right path. However, if you are going to make subjective judgments based on gut feel and all that, you can do that. It works, but it is very risky. You cannot guarantee that you would succeed. So there are companies that have appeared. Some of them have used gut feel. So they are there. Some of them have used gut feel. They are no more, and so on and so forth. So it's you need to get a balance. Again, sometimes I have seen people abuse data. What some people do is that instead of exploring and letting the data speak for itself, they impute their own judgment on the data and skew it.
Okay.
to say it and say that, oh, this is what the data is saying. It's not right because the person skewed the data.
Okay. So I think in this case, a lot of politicians will fall victim to some of these.
Exactly.
Where they always want the data to tell their own side of the story that they want it to tell.
Exactly. So when you are analyzing data objectively, at least these are past events that happened. So when you analyze it objectively, you have a clear understanding of what happened in the past. And it helps you or informs you not to repeat the mistakes of the past. At least that is what you have gotten from your data. So you know what does not work. And then you can build upon it and say, no, I'm not going down this path, I'll go down that path. It has improved your decision making. But if there are no records of such, the mistakes of the past will continue to be repeated, and the end result will be disastrous.
Okay, I see. That's very interesting insight. That it's important that we keep data so as at least we can make lessons of the past. It's like more of history. That
Yes.
if you don't have any history, you're likely to repeat the same mistakes tomorrow. But once you have the history, you can learn from it.
And that is also how concepts change. So we have one concept today. 10 years, 15 years down the line, there are changes to the concepts because of what has happened and what has been changed as it progresses.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Asante. Your last words to, the youth of Ghana and anywhere in the world that they are watching, what you think they should consider in terms of their life, success, data especially, what they need to do.
To everyone who is watching, we thank you very much for watching. One thing that I would leave with you is that look at your strength. Be able to identify who you are and follow the path where you can excel. In saying that, looking at your strength does not mean that you should forget about your weaknesses. Every individual has weaknesses, but you should be able to handle your weaknesses in such a way and manner that they do not end up destroying your strength. Because the world will see you for your strength. When they begin to see your weaknesses, they will not be charitable. So let's work on our weaknesses and continue to develop our strength and make data, the use of data, as objective as possible, not skewed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nathaniel Asante, for the time. We've learned a lot, especially with interest, passion, knowledge, self-tutoring, how to use data, their types of analysis, how important it is to always look at data in terms of the objective it is solving, how to make a career out of data, the opportunities that we have. You ended it by showing us some of the don'ts, how to explore data and let data do the talking. And you ended by practically telling us that we should do a proper SWOT on ourselves and know what strengths we have, as well as minimize the weakness so as we can take advantage of probably the opportunities and minimize the threats there. Thank you very much, Dr. Asante. The name is Ebenezer Safoedo. Continue watching my channel. December is a special treat with a lot of interviews with practitioners. I hope you've learned a thing or two. Put up your comment of what you've learned so as probably you can do a follow-up interview with Doc. Thank you very much for watching.